Okay, so in this video, I just want to give a quick example of one of the conversations I had with the farmhand. So I started off just asking it what the weather was on the specific farm, and you can see what it's pulling for weather here. We've got the temp, the humidity, chance of precipitation, what the wind is doing, and then we've got soil temp and soil moisture. If you're wondering how it gets that, so we are connected to a weather API service, and basically they will aggregate all the data together from all the sensors they have around, and it gets you with pretty decent information. It might not be perfect, but it's pretty close enough to make decisions based off of. So anyway, I continue the conversation and I just ask what the 2 week weather forecast looks like. We're kind of coming into planting season here, so just you kind of want a mental note of, okay, when do I got to have the planter ready by, you know? So so I ask it if it sees a good planting window coming up, and this was a couple days ago, but based off of that forecast, it shows that there's a couple stretches where the soil temp could potentially be getting up into the 50s. We're up in Minnesota here, where as soon as that temperature's over 50 and look like it's going to stay there, we're out there going with the short season up here. So that's kind of a critical thing up here. And so then I ask for some fertilizer recommendations. So I've got my soil maps in the farmhand, so it knows what I've got for levels out there, and it starts giving me some recommendations for spreading fertilizer for if I'm going to plant corn, and gives those recommendations. However, it recommends like some 1034-0 in the furrow. We actually don't run starter on our planter, so I have to tell it that so it can revise the plan, and then it gives me a new plan. So it's just it's just like having a conversation with anybody, the more you tell it, the more information they have, the better, And since that was a couple days ago, I decided I wanted to ask again, just to see what that forecast was doing. And I actually had to ask it twice there because it was looking at the old one at first. And then I said, well, let's check the new forecast. So based off of the new forecast, actually that first window is the cold's been deciding to hang around here. So it took that one out, but it does recommend, it says we still kind of have potentially a good window coming up here for the 16th and 17th, getting a little warm stretch, and that's kind of the one to keep an eye on. So that's just an example of one type of thing you can do with the farmhand. I mean, it's you can talk about anything and everything, and this is just running off of the smart plan. So there's no John Deere integration here. This is just the farmhand and some soil maps that I've got added in. So anyway, I think in the next video I will go over how to make an account and add those soil maps.